All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Ms. Jenkins, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Newmoff.
Here.
Ms. Kalinowski. Here. Mr. Bush.
Here.
Vice President Darrow.
Here.
President McClellan is absent.
All right, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved.
Second. Let's see, Debbie and Paul. Let's see, roll call, please.
Ms. Kalinowski.
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff.
Yes.
Mr. Bush.
Yes.
Vice President Darrow.
Yes. All right, meeting agenda. Michael, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
There's an addendum agenda this evening for the approval of procurement of the high school metal roof for B, C, and D metal.
I have a motion to approve the agenda with the addendum.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Or no?
Mr. Yep.
Yes.
Mr. Bush.
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski.
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff.
Yes.
Vice President Darrow.
Yes. And for superintendent's items, Michael?
Tonight's a business meeting only. The State of the Schools address will begin at 6:30 at the McCoy. We welcome everyone's participation. I just have one additional announcement on behalf of the New Albany High School Theater Department. I want to remind everyone that Footloose will be produced on November 15th, 16th, and 17th. The 15th, 16th, and 17th all have shows at 7:30 p.m. And additionally, there's a matinee on the 17th at 2:30 in the afternoon. But the fall high school musical is Footloose. This past weekend, we had Once Upon This Island by the New Albany Middle School Drama Department, and it was an outstanding production. So if you weren't able to attend the middle school production, I would highly encourage our families to attend Footloose to reminisce on the 1980s with a spin, I'm sure, because it's Mr. Lemberg. And I don't know what the spin is yet. I haven't found it out from Mr. Kramer, but we'll find out what the spin will be based upon 1980s and Footloose. That's all.
All righty. And we have update from PLE. Joe?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First and foremost, I would like to thank you for your continued support of professional development across the district. I've heard from many different staff members and PLE members that our teacher in service day, our 2-hour delayed start day, was very focused and student-centered on exactly what we were working towards, not only within each building, but also our district goals. So thank you again for your continued leadership and providing that opportunity for us to work together and collaborate throughout our normal work day. And it's just been a really nice thing to have throughout each and every school year. With that in mind, I'm here today to also share some of the highlights of things that have been occurring across the district by our members. With that in mind, I'd like to start with Mrs. Moran's kindergarten class. She wanted me to share with you that her morning and afternoon kindergarten classes were working collaboratively together in order to create and illustrate their own book, Brown Bear, What Do You See? They utilized their own sight word knowledge and decoding skills to create sentences, and then they created and painted their own characters from the book. Their new piece of literature can be found in the hallway outside of the room if you would like to venture over and take a look at their published creation. In addition to that, our district ELL staff attended the Ohio TESOL conference. TESOL is the acronym for Teaching English of Speakers or to Speakers of Other Languages, and they did that on Friday, October 12th. Each participant attended 5 sessions on various topics, including differentiated assessments, helping students access content in general education classes, strategies for teaching vocabulary, writing, reading, listening, and speaking, strategies for community outreach, and many other opportunities throughout the conference. They believe the information learned in these sessions will improve student learning as they implement what they have learned in each of their buildings, as well as the sharing of strategies to their general education colleagues throughout the district. Then, as part of our community outreach and partnership, the New Albany Fire Department actually partnered with our second grade during Fire Prevention Week. In the second and third weeks of October, students were taught all about fire safety, and families were encouraged to make fire safety plans. Students learned about the ways to stay safe, things that they could do to avoid that could cause them harm, or who to call it for help if they were ever actually in trouble. What was neat about it was the firefighters actually came in and modeled their own fire safety gear and informed the students how to stay safe too. But last but not least, the students explored the real fire truck. And as you can imagine how much they enjoyed actually being able to go in and climb around and investigate the actual fire truck. They learned all about the neat tools that the firefighters used, climbed into the truck, and even got a close-up look. The teaching staff shared that it was an amazing and memorable day and a great way to partner with our community. And then our very own Sandra Reed, who's newly been placed into the position of the Easton E3 Learning Lab teacher for K-12, presented at the North American Association for Environmental Education Conference in Spokane, Washington in October. She was excited to share with other educators, professors, and school lessons plans as she had developed and emphasized transdisciplinary problem-based learning and hands-on science. And that's something that she's also really encouraging our staff to come out to the lab and implement the same type of lessons here within our own district. And then finally, several of our members from the Early Learning Center volunteered their time on October 13th and 14th at the 11th annual Dreams Day Festival held at Stepping Stone Stables in Blacklick, Ohio. The Dreams Day welcomes community members to the Dreams on Horseback Therapeutic Riding Facility. There were games, crafts, handler-led horse rides, ride-a-thons, a chili cook-off, pie baking contest are just a few of the exciting activities that the guests got to enjoy. Our New Albany ELC staff volunteered their own Saturday and Sundays to scrub the facilities to get it ready to shine, assisted in helping families play games, painted faces, served the chili, and many other helpful activities. They stated that families were very excited to see some familiar faces from the ELC. The staff shared that we have multiple families who take riding lessons at the Stepping Stones or benefit from the therapeutic riding lessons at Dreams, or even serve on their board of directors. They wanted me to share that the Dreams on Horseback provides life-changing programs. Through the horse-assisted activities, participants improve their balance, their strength, communication skills, self-esteem, life skills, and employment skills. Dreams Day is a major fundraiser for this worthwhile program, and they were very excited to participate in that. And they wanted me to share, if you wanted to learn more about that, they've included a web address that you can visit. So with that, I thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks, Joe.
All righty. Any liaison reports? Nope. 5-year forecast, Becky?
So we presented the 5-year forecast at the last board meeting. I didn't make any changes. Just as a summary, revenue is $1.7 million more than we had forecasted in May for the current year. That's basically from real estate taxes. We did learn that the TIF revenue from last year is continuing, and also all-day kindergarten fees and interest income. Our expenses are about $155,000 less than what we had planned in May. And then we have a positive balance in the 5th year of $3.6 million. So still positive.
Excellent. And any board policy items, Michael?
Board members will recall at the last Board of Education meeting, we presented 10 policies, 3 that were sets of specific policies related to employment. They're on the agenda this evening for second reading. They provide updates pursuant to Ohio Revised Code for statutory changes dominantly related to employment law or eligibility for changes under employment law within the state of Ohio. Mrs. Lofton and/or I are happy to take questions if you have any to the specific policies that are presented.
Excellent. And a first opportunity for public participation. Seeing none. It's a board action item. Let's see.
It's an appointment of work.
I have a motion to approve the appointment of Kirk
Tyler.
Filer to the Financial Review and Reporting Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Vice President Darrow?
Yes. And I have a motion to approve treasurer items A through C.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
And we need a discussion.
So monthly financials, we continue to be on plan in all areas. As otherwise noted, though, for other months that we've talked about, nothing out of the ordinary. Appropriation modifications, we have listed, we have 4 different increases. One is an increase in uniform school supplies, which is just our supply account, where students pay their fees. And we had an increased enrollment in high school music course, so more money, more expenses. An increase of $8,300 for preschool professional development. That's out of the public school support. All of these have revenue to cover the increase. Then $2,000 new student activity. They're doing a fundraiser for Eagle Dinner at the high school. And then $8,000 increase in the girls' soccer fundraiser. And then, of course, approving the 5-year forecast so that we can file it by October 31st.
Any discussion, comments? Seeing none, have a roll call, please.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Vice President Darrow?
Yes. And back to superintendent's items. I have a motion to approve superintendent's items A through D. So moved.
Second.
Bush, Ms. Kalinowski. And Superintendent Sawyer.
Thank you. Letter A this evening for personnel or standard employee action items for hiring and/or resignations for personnel classifications across the school district, either pursuant to the collective bargaining agreements or otherwise is governed by Ohio Revised Code. Letter B this evening for general business includes contractual work, which will also include the addendum agenda. So the first one is for a contract to construct a maintenance garage. As you'll recall, when we constructed the intermediate school and put in the bus compound for the bus depot for daily transportation that's centralized, we lost all storage facilities across the school campus. The gym here has actually been serving as a modified storage facility. Zoning's been reclassified in this building, but we still have storage issues. So we want to go through the process with the city to try to get approval through the Architectural Review Board to construct a 40 to 60-foot pole barn in between this building and the administrative office. So where the former preschool playground equipment used to sit, it is now gone because we had to remove it for safety purposes because of deterioration. We're proposing that out this back door of this building, there would be a storage facility there next to the asphalt. The Architectural Review Board would have final say on what that actually looks like. We've met with a contractor, with Mr. Strigley for GHM General Contractors, and are proposing them as a solution this evening. Number 2 this evening for replacement of high school weight room equipment was part of the permanent improvement levy. So we actually had solicited as part of the permanent improvement plan for capital repairs and replacements across the school district. The weight room equipment is approximately 20 years old. Some of it is in significant disrepair. Ms. Jenkins and I did an inspection last week with Jeff Sides, the fitness trainer from Nationwide Children's Hospital, and Mr. Wildenhouse, the athletic director at the high school, and are in agreement to replace the equipment through Rogue Fitness. We did solicit multiple bids. This one is $40,000 less than the next competitor, but it is within budget. We approximated in the PI levy $100,000 to replace the weight room equipment. The final bid came in at $104,000. The field trips are standard for extension of extracurricular, co-curricular activities at the high school. contract to purchase additional classroom monitors. This again goes back to permanent improvement as part of the technology replacement cycle. Mr. Voss has been successful in getting this year's pricing on the next model that will become available in 2019 for the monitors to replace at the middle school and the high school. So that will happen progressively in through the summer, but we're recommending the purchase based upon what we had actually outlined through the permanent improvement levy. Number 5 this evening is for the intermediate school, and it's for noise reduction purposes. We've done a study over the course of the last 3 months to look specifically at sound quality in specified classrooms at the intermediate school based upon the installation of sound tiles because of the cafeteria schedule and how we're using the lunchrooms and how the lunchrooms are then impacting the learning studio specifically. So we had tested this originally during the construction project. We actually value engineered it out based upon cost at the time because we had overruns in other areas that had to be prioritized when we built the building. So now we're coming back to it for installation of the sound tile, specifically at the intermediate school, which was also incorporated into previous conversations related to PI. And then lastly, on the addendum agenda, we met with Garland to continue the conversations. We had previously bid through the National Co-op to do metal work specifically at the high school as well as asphalt shingle. We will do shingle work next summer on campus, but that has yet to go to bid. The metal pricing that we had secured through the co-op bid through New Jersey when it came back into Ohio is still being honored. So we're recommending moving forward with the B, C, and D metal roofs adjacent to the gymnasium building, which was done this past summer. At the high school, the contract is not to exceed $1.1 million, which was built into the permanent improvement levy for roofing purposes, which will then complete the high school as far as shingles and metal, with the exception of J, K, and L buildings, which are not yet 20 years old. So those were the newer buildings at the high school that were built after the original campus was constructed, and they're not due for roofs. We are going to bid for primary school roof, 150,000 square foot of asphalt with some gutter work that has to occur, and then the administrative office building. Those are the next 2 shingle roofs that are in significant disrepair that we had accounted for in the original PI projections, and we will go to bid for those with hopeful installation at the administrative office will be done in March and April, and then the primary roof would start the day after school goes out until July 31st is the estimate. Any questions?
Can you just confirm, I heard multiple bids on several of those, but on number 1, on the maintenance garage, we have multiple bids for that?
We do,
Yes.
So everything, we've got multiple bids?
yes.
And we went with the lowest responsible bid.
Thank you.
Does that noise reduction tile really work?
Yes.
We tested it in a couple of the classrooms to make sure before we went on with this expenditure. So between that and then seals around the doors, it made a huge difference to the teachers in those areas. It was loud.
Been an ongoing conversation for 6 months, Katie, at least. It was a conversation last school year, but we didn't have a solution in place. So we've been testing different solutions, but this is the solution that has worked the best based upon the sound engineers that have been here.
Were there objective measurements of sound levels, or was it?
Yeah, we have readings at different times of the day, when the cafeteria is in use, when it's not in use, when kids are in hallways, not in hallways, when the walls are open, when the walls are closed. They've done everything. So we had different scaled schedules that actually illustrated that at different variances of the day. Yep. Any other questions?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Vice President Darrow?
Yes. Alrighty, where are we?
Public participation.
Second public participation. Seeing none.
Motion to adjourn.
And may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Newmoff, Ms. Kalinowski.
Mr. Newmoff?
Yes.
Ms. Kalinowski?
Yes.
Mr. Bush?
Yes.
Vice President Darrow?
Yes.